This is a demonstration of the MyST Management Information System. You log in with your unique username and password from the screen here. Once you've logged in, you will see the landing page. The first thing you will see is any system announcements that may be in the center of the screen. So for example, this is promoting the new feature of the reporting, which we'll look at shortly. The primary function of the MyST system is to manage and report the transactions that your business has done through your website and any Moto transactions. Moto is mail order and telephone order. So let's perform a search and have a look at what we've got. The search is a database search, and the transactions will be returned on screen. As you will see, the transactions are listed in their entirety. Each of these columns can be reordered, and the various columns you have available are the transaction reference number, which is unique in every instance. The account type primarily will be e-commerce, which is your web-based transactions, or Moto, which is anything you do through the virtual terminal or through your call center. It will show you the type of transaction, whether it's an authorization or a refund, the payment type, typically the card type, the currency, the amount, any error codes, the status of the transaction, typically if it's pending or if it has been settled, the customer name, and the transaction date and time. Let's have a look at one of these transactions in a little more detail. Once you click the hyperlink, the transaction detail will be opened on screen. And what you will see here initially is the transaction details. So again, the amount, the currency type, the type of transaction, some of the card information, the expiry date, and any customer information you've collected, which will typically be name, email address, and postal address. Let's just do that search again and look at another transaction in a bit more detail. What we're looking for now is a settled transaction, which will be status code 100. And here they are. Again, the transaction detail is opened on screen for you to view. What we can do from this screen, we can perform two additional functions. One is a reauth. What this will allow you to do is to rebuild a customer card without the customer having to go back onto your website and order new product. The amount you can alter, and once you have the desired amount, you just click the process button and that transaction will go through. This has been successful as signified by the green tick, which will then also say transaction success. Let's go back. The screen also gives you the option to display the related transactions. If we click on this tab, any transactions that relate to this customer will be grouped together. And you'll see there's a number here already. The original settled transaction, a refund has been performed, and subsequent transactions have gone through. Let's show you a refund. Again, we open the transaction information, and at the bottom of the screen there's a large radio button that you can just click. Again, the amount can be changed, and with a simple click that transaction can be processed. We've received an error on the screen here because what we've attempted to do is perform a refund which is greater than the value of the original transaction. So let's have a look at another one and see if we can show you that in a bit more detail. Again, we're searching for a status 100 transaction which has been settled by the bank, and therefore we know the funds are available. And we pick this one up here and we can perform the refund here. Let's put a small amount in to make sure this works. You must ensure you're not trying to process refunds for a value or an amount which is greater than the original transaction, as this contravenes card scheme rules. We can see here this transaction has been successful, signified by the green tick, and the transaction success information. let's have a look at the reporting. The reporting function is designed for reconciliation purposes and not for the full view of the transaction data. If we select the search parameters and we generate the report, what we will see, the very basic headline information of the number of transactions that have been settled to each acquirer. The acquirer in this, we have a PayPal transaction, and the acquirer is displayed as test, but in your instance it will be whichever bank you have your merchant IDs through, whether it be Barclays Merchant Services or Lloyds TSB CardNet, for example. We have some advanced options which will allow us to run further detail on the types of transactions that have gone through. If we have a little look at the various columns available to us, we can select by acquirer type. So if you do run multiple acquirers, typically PayPal and your bank, these can be selected here. There are various accounts, so if you have an e-commerce account and a Moto, mail order, telephone order account, you can group these here. You can also select the currencies you wish to view. If you are running multiple currencies, it may be that you just wish to view, for example, all the GBP or pound sterling transactions. So let's select that and have a look. The payment types are the various different cards you accept through your system. So again, let's select just one. So let's have a look at perhaps all the Visa cards we've done. Let's select it by payment type and currency, and let's generate that headline report. And you will see that on the dates we have selected, 51 authorisations have gone through for a value of just over £16,000. 3 have been settled, and you see the value also. This is exceptionally useful, as what will happen when the banks settle into your account is it will be a single deposit of all the funds available. And this allows you to tie up to the penny if those figures tally between what you're expecting and what has actually been deposited. Let's look at some of the other key functions the system will allow us to perform. One thing you can do is add new users to the system. So let's do that now. The system will generate a unique password in each case, and what you need to do is select a username. So let's do that now. Always remember to put the full email address in. The roles can be assigned as either a site user or a virtual terminal only user, which we'll look at in a moment. What you can do is assign each user to your sites, and it may be that you run multiple websites. If that's the case, you can allow a user to be joined or connected to both of those. Remember to select the role, select the sites, and then just save the user. And that user is now part of the system. Let's generate a new user with virtual terminal only responsibility, and you can see how that differs. Again, remember to put the full email address into the system. The system will generate the password. Select them as virtual terminal only user. Let's carry across the website we wish them to be attached to, and let's save that user. And let's show you what that person's view is. As the passwords generated are a random list of alphas and numerics, it's always recommended that the first thing you do as a user is log in and change your password. We've now logged in as a virtual terminal user, and you can see the view on screen is very different from what we've seen previously. The only thing I will be able to do is conduct a virtual terminal transaction. Let's do that now. The virtual terminal is ideal for Moto environments, mail order, telephone order. So for example, a call center. So what we shall do now is perform a transaction and show you how that looks. These fields can be locked to ensure that every transaction that your users perform contains all the information you require. Once you've taken the customer detail, you can copy that across as the billing information to save you having to enter that twice. Let's put the billing address in. And let's put some further information in also. The transaction information, the first thing it will allow you to do is to have an order reference. This is a free text field that you can add anything you choose. So maybe it's a special offer, or maybe you wish to capture some of the order code information, or perhaps even the product code information. The settlement date will default to a maximum of 7 days in the future. The settlement is the time that Secure Trading send all the authorized transaction through to your acquirer for the funds to be transferred into your account. This is done as standard on a daily basis, but it may be if you wish to check your stock, you may wish to have a couple of days before settlement occurs to ensure the products are available for your customer. The account type needs to be selected. If you're using it through a call center environment, the correct one is MOTO, mail order, telephone order. You're able to select the currency that is being processed. And of course, you need to enter the amount. The payment type will allow you to choose which card the customer is using. And if it's a card that requires a start date, that also needs to be entered, as well of course as the expiry date and the security code. And of course, most importantly, the card number itself. Once all this information is entered, you click the process button, and within seconds you will see this transaction has been authorized, and it's a successful authorization. This user, because they are only allowed to access the virtual terminal, will not be able to look at any reports or perform anything other than a transaction. They'll not be able to perform refunds or run any transaction detail. Let's log back in as a site administrator and have a quick look at this transaction. So again, we've come to the landing screen. We'll enter our username and password. And let's just quickly search on today's date and see the transaction we've just performed. So you can see the virtual terminal transaction performed by our virtual terminal operator is displayed here. And here's all the information that we just entered.